Until they've actually been there and done it, experienced that much talked about pressure, a sportsman will never know how he or she is going to cope. It's been a problem for players, coaches and sports psychologists alike. Up until now, that is. We've come to Belfast, where the technology of virtual reality is set to change everything. Our destination is Queen's University, where Professor Cathy Craig and her team are busy developing a headset and interactive computer program which will transport sportsmen into the middle of the world's greatest stadiums. So what's it actually like to put on this headset, and what do you see? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's to actually do it. So there's the headset on, and immediately here I am in the middle at Lord's. There in front of me is the press box. I'm going round is the grandstand, the new stand there where the old Warner stand used to be, in the old pavilion. And there is a very menacing-looking keeper behind me.
The technology we use here is much more using what we would call CGI. So the similar type of things you might see in some films, Disney films, whatever. So we simulate movement, but we're using avatars. So we're using virtual representations of players in the virtual context.
Here we go. I'm going to try and see whether I can actually score a run at Lord's. This is my only chance. I can't. Not much bounce, I have to say.
So what we're really interested in is understanding how we can use technology to understand more how the brain makes decisions about action. So as you know, in any sport, what can often define a winning performance is the key decisions that players make. But we don't really understand what is it that allows a player to make a brilliant decision, and what is the information the brain can use to make that decision.
You can actually see that bowler running up. You can really focus on the key perceptual information you need to read his type of trajectory, and then you can slowly learn how to face that kind of delivery. So I think Malinga is a great example because he bowls very good Yorkers. So if particularly you're weak on Yorkers, if it maybe on the left hand or the right hand side, that's something you could consistently practice with.
We can give a batter that opportunity to practice against a virtual bowler without injuring our bowlers. So as we know, fast deliveries, things like that in cricket, put a lot of strain on the bodies of the bowlers.
And the benefits of the system won't stop there. In an echo of the Bangor research, the Belfast team say their system will also be able to help identify how players perform under pressure.
What we use the cricket virtual reality for is we get batters in. We can have identical balls bowled in the two different conditions, except we can change the amount of pressure, and we can look at the effect of the change in pressure on things like performance.
Niall's work is very much around trying to understand how pressure is influencing performance. You could be saying that this is going to be a very fast delivery you're going to face. You've got 4 runs and this is the last over. So absolutely you can do that. You can create a hostile crowd. You can change the auditory content. We can be measuring heart rate of players in these scenarios to make sure that the levels of anxiety are being manipulated and that they can then control that anxiety to play the shot it is they want to play.
I suppose when under heightened anxiety you attend to different things, you make different decisions. So in a pressurized situation, if we look at how somebody performs under no pressure, they're making maybe accurate decisions, or maybe they're making poor decisions as well. But in the higher pressure, we expect to see changes in decision-making, maybe earlier initiations of swings, maybe a difference in trade-off, maybe they're taking more risk, maybe we're asking them to chase an innings down and they're making poorer decisions based on that anxiety or that pressure.
You are talking all the time to the ECB, are you? They're showing an interest.
Yes, we're having great conversations and they're helping to guide us in terms of how we can shape this technology. I think what is important is understanding what's underpinning this is the theory that we use, and it's how the perceptual information the brain picks up guides the action. So by being able to keep that very much at the core of what we're doing, I think we're on a very solid foundation to build an interesting piece of technology.
Well, the pace of change when it comes to inventions like that virtual reality system is so quick. It would be astonishing if sometime in the very near future there wasn't something which enabled the sporting stars of tomorrow prepare for those highly pressurized situations.
I think we've had 3 decades. One is the fitness decade, then there's been a decade of data and analytics, and I think the biggest revolution coming our way in sport, the mindset, is definitely the next frontier.
And if I've learned one thing in making this series, it's that players, coaches, sports psychologists alike, they all agree that improving and opening up the mental side of sport is a huge untapped area, and those that realise its potential quickest will be the winners. The winners of the mind games.